This is Jonathan Agoff here for Pro Boxing Fans. We're here in London today ahead of Mick Hennessy's big show at York Hall on Saturday night. Mick, first of all, is this a bigger show than it could have been in September now?
It's a much bigger show, yeah, definitely. As bad as it was when it happened, and it was bad, the fallout was incredible. It took, probably 3 weeks to sort out. But as it turns out, this was such a good fight, it had to happen again. And the IBO belt was coming vacant. And because it was such a good fight, they said yes straight away. They didn't even have to think about it.
I mean, let's just get into that, just for those that don't know what happened. Yeah. Alex Dilgani's opponent threw up, I believe, in the changing room just before he was about to fight.
They had their hands wrapped. The referee came in to check their wraps. They was on the verge of 5 minutes. They'd been called for their ring walks. TV was all set up. And then my understanding was, I wasn't there, and my understanding that Francisco got up from having his wraps checked, walked to the corner and basically threw up.
I mean, something I'm sure you've never experienced before. Never in 20 years of, top level boxing, I haven't, no. But as we say, it has made the fight, I believe, bigger. There's seemingly some sort of grudge we saw in the press conference between the pair. Yeah. I mean, Alex Dilgani seems to have some bad intentions going Saturday night.
He's
really fired up.
Really fired up, and he was, trust me, he was pissed after the last fight. Really, I mean, I was trying to calm him down because he just thought, he felt the whole thing was unprofessional. That the way he was eating after the weigh-in and everything. So to him, he was furious, and he probably would have said a lot more if I hadn't calmed him down. Francisco Fonseca has gone on record quite a few times as basically saying that 1,000,000% he had some sort of fever, he had some sort of infection, and it was obviously genuine, which it looked to me. It looked genuine to me, definitely. But because of some of the comments that Alex has made, it's upset Francisco Fonseca, which you could see today. He's basically predicting that he takes Alex Dilgani out, and he said it was personal. So you got that side of it, and Alex feels the same. Alex wants to take him out. So it's a serious grudge match. They want each other bad, and they want to take each other out. They're not looking to go points, either of these two. And for me, it's such a truly world-class fight. I believe there will be a stoppage, but I believe it will be after a barnstormer of a fight, and it will be late between 9 and 12.
Obviously, the IBO title's on the line, the IBO super featherweight title. Was it a hard fight to make following what happened? Was Alex a bit like, I want to just move on with my career, or did he want the fight straight away?
First and foremost, he just didn't trust Francisco Fonseca. He thought that he didn't fancy the fight, so he didn't trust that situation. Then he realised that it was the right fight. It was hard to get a fight that ticked all the buttons, a fight that took him into the big time, a fight that someone who was truly world class, who's only been beat by the elite in the division, who's give a great account of himself against the elite fighters, someone who he could make his mark on, someone who he could arrive with. There's not many of them about, and this was the right fight, and he realised that, and it was, it took a while, but we got it back on track.
It is a family affair at the York Hall on Saturday night. His brother also on the card, Freddie Fonseca, against John Joe Nevin. Another great fight.
Tremendous fight, great fight. It's and it's very rare, isn't it?
Yeah.
Two truly world-class brothers in the same division. It's like,
Has it happened before?
Klitschko's?
On the same night? On the same night, though?
Maybe not on the same night. Yeah, I don't know for sure. But he's like Francisco. Although he's southpaw, he's a danger man. He's a serious puncher. They're both serious punchers. They're both world class, both punchers, and he's dangerous. But John Joe Nevin is a special talent, and to come back from what he's come back from has been nothing short of a miracle. And if he's got what he had left, then this is going to be an incredible fight, because, as I say, I watched him most of his career. I watched him from a young man fighting long before the Olympics. I've seen him in the Olympics, I've seen him in the World Championships, I've seen him at WSB, and he's a serious talent. People are saying, is he ready for this? You know, he's only had 13 fights. John Joe Nevin's seen everything in boxing, and he's come across the true greats in boxing. So Freddie Fonseca's not going to pose anything that John Joe Nevin hasn't seen before. It's a great fight, it's a tremendous fight. You've got a master boxer, master fighter in John Joe Nevin, you've got a serious, awkward southpaw puncher in Fonseca, and that in itself is intriguing. So I'm finding that one hard to call, but I think John Joe Nevin will edge him out over the 10 rounds.
On the undercard, sitting right next to your son, Michael Hennessy Jr. Before I speak to you, Michael, I just want to ask you, Mick, what's it like having your own son box on one of your shows? Is it a privilege, but also tinged with nerves?
Yeah, it's nice to have my son working with me and by my side all the time, even though we do drive each other around the twist sometimes. But it's nice to, everyone wants to spend as much time as they can with their family. You know, sometimes you're torn away with work and other commitments at university and stuff like that. So it's nice that we get to spend so much time together. So that side of it's great. To answer your question, I get very excited, but I also get very nervous. It's my son. I'm very, very confident with him because I know how tough he is, and I know he's paid his dues as an amateur, and I know the things he's done worldwide against world-class fighters. So I'm very, very confident with him. But obviously, I get nervous with all my fighters, but obviously my son in there, sometimes it's another level.
Michael, first time at York Hall, probably the most iconic venue in London. How excited are you to fight there?
I'm absolutely buzzing to box at York Hall. Like I say, first time boxing there, amateur or pro, and it's not too far from home, so I'm going to have a big support on Saturday night, and they're going to be making some noise.
You're 2-1 with that draw in Saudi Arabia. Going on to Saudi Arabia on the undercard of Amir Khan, what was that experience like?
Yeah, that was an incredible experience, boxing on a massive show like that with all the names that were on it, and it was bittersweet because we all know I won the fight. It was 3 rounds to 1. Clearly he was homeboy, so he got a home cooked meal, but that's something I'd like to put right in the future. Other than that, incredible experience, and I'd love to do it again.
Your dad mentions you've had sort of like some world-class sparring. Can you give us any names you've shared the ring with?
So I boxed Gabriel Dawson from Ireland. He's world bronze medalist, mini world silver, I think European bronze medalist as well. Mark Dickinson on Team GB. He's European champion, won multiple national titles. I boxed a lot of names, yeah, and sparred a lot of great names as well. I've been doing quite a lot of sparring at iBox Gym, which is packed full of talent. Like Kevin Ajarko, Lerone Richards, taking me round, teaching me things. So I'm getting a lot of experience early on.
That experience can only help your son going forward, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like he said, as an amateur, he in his groups, he boxed the best in the world, the very best in the world. Them names he mentioned there are great fighters. And the list is endless for in England and Ireland. But yeah, sparring fighters like Lerone and Kevin, great people, and they really, they believe, with sparring him and sort of like, helping him out and everything else, they believe that he's a serious talent, from their comments as well, which is nice feedback. So he's just got to put in the hard 9 yards. For such a young fighter, he's doing tremendous, and like he said, he never lost in Saudi Arabia. I mean, he's never going to be held accountable by dodgy judges and dodgy situations around boxing, because that's not gonna stop him. It's not going to stop us. We'll go under it, we'll go around it, we'll go over it. He won that fight clearly, and it was a bit of a disgrace really, and as he said, it was bittersweet because I said this to him beforehand, I didn't actually like the fact that he started his career on the 6-round fights, and the reason I've done that is because on 4-round fights it's too much like the amateurs, and you only have to have a slow start or one off round, and you can get jobbed out of a fight. You can get robbed. You can be given a draw like he was, or you can, worse than that, you can lose a fight. So I started and won 6 rounds. But when we went out to Saudi Arabia, the criteria was, I asked for it to be a 6-rounder, but they said the format had to be 4. And then they put him in with a kid who no one else wanted to fight. 3 or 4 opponents turned him down, and it was, for him, it was either be on the show, saying he's such a danger man, big puncher. So for him, it was either go on the show and fight this guy over 4 rounds, which we didn't want, and an absolute danger man that everyone's avoiding, and everyone out there saying that Mike was going to get knocked out. So it was either take that fight to be on such a great platform, or it was like, you know, where I was, let's leave it for another day because this is wrong. But his nature, he's a real warrior. His nature, he pleaded with me. He wanted to fight. He wanted to fight on that platform. He knew the risks. I told him that you could get robbed out here, and he knew the risks, and he chose to take it because. And to be fair, it was the right decision because it was such a great platform, such a great experience. And although he got caught up in a war, he gave a fantastic account of himself. He really did. So it was the right decision. And as I say, we're not going to be held back by dodgy draws.
If I could go back with hindsight, knowing that if I wouldn't not go, I'd still go out and fight, even knowing I'd get the draw. Because it was such an amazing experience. It's going to benefit me in the future. You know?
I mean, it's obviously very early on in your career, but where do you see yourself maybe in a year's time? Will you be at sort of that, like, knocking on the door of British level with the way you go?
I'd say I'm only 20 tomorrow, so I'm taking things slowly, one step at a time. Ideally, this next year will be used for experience, going up to 8 and 10 rounders, hopefully, by the end of it. I'd like to fight for the WBC U4 title at some point, and then take one step at a time, Southern area, English, British, Commonwealth, etc. So probably British, I'd say British titles, not looking for until about 22, 23, at least, minimum.
I mean, how important isn't it to rush Michael, even though he's very young and making progress?
It's important not to rush him. I mean, a lot of people feel that he's been matched very, very hard, and he has, to be fair. And I think it was the wake-up call he needed, because, like, I knew personally he was cutting corners, and you know, I want him to know how hard this pro game is. And to be fair, with the 3 fights he's had, he's since then he knows exactly how hard the pro game is, and now he's got a different mentality. He's really switched on, which is what I wanted. And so I think these first 3 fights have stood him in great stead for the future. But it is important not to rush him, and it's going to be hard not to rush him, because the way it will work is he will try and rush me. That's what's going to happen. So I've got to try and get the right fights at the right time and the right experience for him.
Do you know the opponent on Saturday night?
Yeah, it's a Hungarian fighter, a soldier called Richard Barber. I think he's had, is it 5 and 5 or 4 and 6? What is 5 and 5? Yeah, it's half and half record, so it's a decent record. And you know, he comes to fight, so it's over 6 rounds, which we like. I mean, if anything, he's probably been a 10-round fighter since he was 14. He's great with the rounds. So yeah.
Just a couple more I want to touch on. For those that don't understand the situation, can you just clarify the situation with Hughie Fury? I mean, I know you were very much involved in his career. He's gone to Matchroom. Are you still involved?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, look, Hughie and Peter, they're like family to me. I still manage Hughie. We're still a big part of his career. We're going out to Monaco at the end of the month, and we're really looking forward to it. You know, I signed Hughie at 18, just after he won the world youths, and you know, what a talent, and more importantly, what a nice young man. He's a lovely person, Hughie, and comes from a great family, and you know, we're together.
I mean, just on his defeat to Alexander Povetkin, was it just Povetkin just had that bit too much? He's still got something left in the tank?
I think Povetkin had been preparing for that date a long time, so he knew he was fighting on that date before Hughie Fury did. And taking nothing away from it, I think it was one of his best performances for Povetkin. A serious performance against a great young talent. But Hughie, it wasn't his night. Things didn't fall right for him on the night. But what a great account he gave himself. Some of them shots he took would have flattened probably 95% of heavyweights worldwide. And that young man, just like absolute true warrior, and got himself through the fight. And the fight was a lot closer than fair enough, Povetkin definitely edged the fight, but the fight was a lot closer than the judges, that's for sure. But look, Hughie won the Parker fight, no question. He should have been world champion back then, but since then he's had some tough fights and they haven't worked out. He's had a few obstacles in his way. He had the eye with Pulev, and he had a really in-form fight with Povetkin, and he just weren't right that night. But Peter is a perfectionist, and Hughie is still a young man, and every fight they go away and work on things, and they will get it right. The time will come when Hughie Fury fulfills his destiny, and I can't wait for that to happen because no one deserves it more.
I mean, he has fought 3 former or world champions, as you mentioned, Pulev, Parker. Where do you see his career going? I mean, there's been talk of domestic dust-ups with the likes of Daniel Dubois, maybe Nathan Gorman. Is that the sort of level he goes back down to, or is there no way of... Does he have to carry on going towards this world level now he's got there?
Oh, 100%. Like Parker, Pulev, Povetkin, they're all elite world-class fighters, aren't they? They could all at any moment in time be major world champions themselves. They've got it in them to do it on the right night. And let's not forget, he's had close fights. He should have been world champion that night with Parker. I've never I think you can only truly judge a fight being sat at ringside. Sometimes you watch it on TV, you see slightly different, but that night at ringside, I've never ever felt more comfortable with a decision in my life. I thought it was a foregone conclusion. I thought it was a shutout, and I thought Hughie won the fight. But he wasn't to be, and maybe that's for a reason, because I believe when his time comes, he'll do great things in the sport, and he'll hold on to that title.
Just on his cousin Tyson, you're obviously involved with him a few years ago. What do you make of his career, where it's going at the moment? He's obviously he was in Saudi Arabia with the wrestling, there's talk of going into MMA, the Wilder rematch. What do you make of what's going on with Tyson at the moment?
Definitely no comment at the moment, I'm afraid.
No problem. Right, just going on, what else do you have in the pipeline other than your son? You've got the 2 fighters on Saturday night. Who else are you promoting? What else is happening?
Well, look, I'm working on things in the background. I'm looking to have a really big 2020. There's things I can't talk about what I'm working on at the moment, but needless to say, even at this age, I'm still quite ambitious, and there's a lot I would love to achieve and do. So, You're on the competition.
You obviously say you've been around a long time, but so much happening in boxing right now. Everyone wants the big fights, the TV deals. Is that what sort of motivates you?
I like the fact that boxing's booming. I like the fact, I'm all for this, although it does rub hardcore boxing people up the wrong way when YouTube stars are headlining over genuine world champions. I'm up for it. I like it. I love the audience that's being brought to the sport. I love the spotlight. I just got some personal ambitions within the sport, and I've obviously got a renewed interest as well because my son's chose this hard lifestyle. So it's one of them really. But it has been an incredible roller coaster. And would Would I, if I'd known back then when I started in boxing what I was going to have to go through, would I have took that path? Probably not.
Final couple of questions. Who makes each of yours pound for pound top 3? So are you, Mick?
What, present?
Yeah.
For me, definitely Lomachenko, number 1. Phenomenal. 2 right now. It would have to be Canelo. 3. Yeah, I mean, I love GGG, but I definitely think he's hanging in there too long. Really, he's on the slide a bit. Yeah, you'd have to say Crawford's right up there.
Michael, yours? Exactly the same.
Lomachenko 1, Canelo 2, Crawford 3.
Yeah.
Ward would have been up there if he hadn't retired recently.
Yeah, we're a big fan of Andre Ward. We like Andre.
Same too. Final question for both of you. How does Anthony Joshua win this rematch, and do you think he does, or is it the same result against Ruiz?
I think it's an even better fight second time around. I think Anthony Joshua's mentally strong. When he puts his mind to something, I definitely think there's, no matter what anyone says, and everyone likes to prepare properly, but I don't see how he could have got himself up 1,000,000% for that Ruiz fight. He must have underestimated him. Must have. I think he's a mentally strong person. I really do, and I think he'll be going to hell and back to get himself in the right position to do a job here. And he deserves it as well. I've met him quite a few times, and he's always been an absolute gentleman, lovely man. But I must say, I really, really rate Ruiz. I mean, the talent. Forget his shape. Those quick hands and brilliant combinations and fast feet, fast hands and brilliant head movement, and cutting the ring off and sitting close with his fighters and unloading, and his heart and his balls. Wow, what a fighter! And I must say, I've been following it, and he's been looking like he's getting in tremendous shape. He looks awesome. I mean, I know it's pads, but he looks awesome on the pads. He really does, doesn't he? I think it's a super close fight to call, and I hope Anthony pulls it off, but I'm leaning towards Ruiz.
Michael?
I'm the same. I feel like I really rate Ruiz. I'd like Anthony Joshua to win, and I think he's got the knockout power to take anyone out at any time, so that's an easy possibility, but I'd lead in the same. I'd say I'm leaning towards Ruiz at the moment.
Alright, well, we'll wait and see what happens with that. Michael, Mick, appreciate your time speaking to pro boxing fans, and we look forward to the massive show at York Hall on Saturday night, live on Spike and Channel 5, I believe.
Yep. Well, Channel 5's been confirmed from 9 to 11, but we're just waiting for confirmation on Spike.
Okay, look out for that confirmation. Appreciate your time, and wish you all the best.